Hi students, welcome to Sri Damodar Ragoji Memorial School online classes. This is for class 8 standard, subject is science. So students, in last video we are going to discussing about the topic that is what? Reproduction. Yes. So today we will continue the lesson that is reproduction in animals. Okay, now let us continue the yes. So students, in last video we have discussed about the methods of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, here asexual reproduction means the reproduction of a new organism from a single parents, whereas asexual reproduction means what? The production of a new organism from a single parent cell, whereas sexual reproduction means the production of a new organism from a sex cells, or we can say more than two cells. Okay, that is gametes. Okay, the methods of reproduction. Next is what? The male and female reproductive organs. Okay, so this here animals having a male sex cells called, that is sperms, in its body, which is called male, whereas an animal having a female sex cells that we are called egg or ova. So in its body, that is called what? Female gametes. The male reproductive organs that include a pair of testes, the two sperm ducts and a penis. So the testes produce the male gametes that are called sperms. Okay, so here students, the male reproductive organs include a pair of testes, that two sperm ducts and a penis. The testes produce the male gametes that we are called sperms. So the millions of sperms are produced by the testes, which shows that is though the sperms are very sperms are very small in size, and each has a head and a middle piece and a tail. Okay, so does it appears to be a single cell indeed, and each sperm is a single cell with all the usual cell components. Okay, so students, the cell involved the sexual reproduction that are called what? Gametes. The male gametes in animals, which are called sperms, and the female gametes in animals, which is called as what? Egg or ova. So here sperms are the sperm is the male gametes. In it is a single cell with the usual cell component like nucleus, cell membrane, that is called sperma, that is called sperm. These sperms are produced in testes in male reproductive organ. Okay, next is what? The female reproductive organ. The female reproductive organs are a pair of ovaries and oviducts and the uterus. Okay, it includes these three major parts, and the ovary produces the female gametes that are called what? Ova. In human beings, a single matured egg is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries every month. So uterus is the part where development of the baby takes place. Where it takes place, that is in the uterus. Okay, like the sperms, an egg is also a single cell. Okay, so the egg is a female gamete and it is a single cell. The human egg is round in round in shape and about 0.15 mm in diameter. Next is what? A zygote. Zygote means what here? The new cell which is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete that is called zygote. So zygote is a cell, okay, which is formed by the two male and female gametes, okay. So this process which we are called fertilization, that we can call it as angel cell. Zygote is a angel cell. So next is what? The fertilization. Fertilization is the process of fusion of a male gamete with the female gamete to form a zygote during the sexual reproduction, which is called fertilization. Zygote is actually a fertilized egg. The zygote, which is actually a fertilized egg, and it is of two types, okay. So these are as internal fertilization, and another one is what? That is external fertilization. So fertilization, in the first step, what happens in the process of reproduction is the fusion of a sperm and an ovum. When sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperm may fuse with the egg. Such a fusion of the egg and the sperm, which is called as what? Fertilization. So during this fertilization, the nuclei of a sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus, and this results in the formation of fertilized egg, that is called zygote, okay. So you know that zygote is the beginning of a new individual, okay. It is the beginner of a new individual, and the process of fertilization is the meeting of an egg cell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. So the new individual inherits some characteristics from the mother and some from the father. So look at your brother or a sister. See if you can recognize some characteristic in them similar to those of your mother or your father. Yes. So fertilization, which takes place may either inside or outside. So based on this, we can classify this fertilization into two types. One is internal fertilization and another one is external fertilization, okay. So internal fertilization occurs in many animals, including humans, cows, dogs and hens. See here the types of fertilization, that is internal and external. So you will be surprised to know that in many animals fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. In these animals, fertilization takes place in water, and that is the fertilization that is takes place in a water. See, during the spring or a rainy season, frogs and toads move to ponds and slow flowing streams. When the male and female come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. Unlike hen's eggs, frog's eggs is not covered by a shell and it is comparatively very delicate. A layer of a jelly holds the eggs together and provides protection to the eggs. So as the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them and each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. So the sperms come in contact with the eggs. So this results in fertilization. So this type of a fertilization, in which the fusion of male and female gamete takes place outside the body of the female, which is called what? External fertilization. Okay, so it is a very common in aquatic animals such as fish and starfish. Okay, so here external reproduction means what? External reproduction, the fertilization in which fusion of a male and female gamete takes place outside the body of the female, which is called external reproduction. Yes, so here what is the difference between types of the fertilization? Fertilization which takes place inside the body, that is called what? Internal. Whereas the fertilization which takes place outside, that is called what? External reproduction. So the sperm depositor near female reproductive tract, the fertilization occurs within tract, whereas female releases eggs into environment and male fertilizes them externally. Whereas here few zygotes produced, where the many zygotes are produced. More protection for developing embryo, whereas here the less protection for developing embryo. One more important point here I should to share with you, that some of the women can't birth a new baby. Okay, what happens if in such cases, means students, the some women oviducts which are blocked, so these women are unable to bear babies because sperms cannot reach the egg for fertilization. So in such cases, doctors collect the freshly released egg and sperms and they keep them together for few hours for IVF. Here IVF means in vitro fertilization. So the fertilization outside the body. In case fertilization occurs, the zygote is allowed to develop for about a week and then it is placed in the mother's uterus. So complete development takes place in the uterus and the baby is born like any other baby. So babies born through this technique which are called test tube babies. So this term is actually misleading because of babies cannot grow in the test tube. Okay, in some cases it may be failed due to that reason. So they should to be that is misled, that is misleading because of the babies cannot be grow in a test tube. Okay, so this is the fertilization, that types of fertilization. Okay. So about the sexual reproduction, we have already discussed in last class. Okay, the male reproductive system, that includes the parts, that is testes, that is scrotal sacs, epididymis, sperm duct and seminal vesicles and penis. So these are the some parts of what? These are the some parts of the male reproductive system, whereas the female reproductive organs include ovaries, oviducts, that is uterus and vagina. So ovaries are the real reproductive organs in the female, whereas ovaries make the that is ovaries make the female gametes that we are called egg, and in human being that is mature eggs released into the oviduct, and every month baby one of the ovaries, that is, and the fertilization of egg by a sperm takes place in the oviduct. Okay, so here what the development of embryo, the fertilization results in the formation of a zygote which begins to develop into an embryo, and the zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a